Welcome back to another episode of Third and Long, man. As you can see, I got my special guest host, man, Mr. D. Jones, man. You got anything you want to touch on?
Nah, man, been out for a little minute.
Yeah.
Just want to come back and get things right, man. Like I say, life been lifing on our end. Actually, week 8, we actually recorded, fellas.
Yeah.
We actually did. We recorded, and my man going a little high technology. He wanted to go in 4K, and for whatever reason,
couldn't export it.
Right.
I deleted all my apps and everything. Right. Everything still couldn't go up. So man, I was heated, bro.
Right,
so,
and it was we felt like it was one of our best segments that we had done. Talked really deep in detail on some things, on some ball. Let's say cracked a couple of jokes up in there, man, that we can't relive. Then, week 9, we had some family issues going on. So, like I say, things go, hey, life be life, man. Just got to, take the jabs and keep on pushing, man.
And you know what's crazy? It's almost one of the things, like, I be thinking about what's one of the main things we talk about, two perennial teams matching up. We always talk about mental fortitude, who's battle tested.
Right.
I mean, that equates to life. So we always talk, like you always say, man, it's bigger than just ball. So when you develop that type of unbreakable mentality, man, that translates over into life. So,
and it makes you see things a little bit different and clearer, man. And like I say, not saying that, we ain't never going to have down moments or anything like that, but like I say, I tell you all the time, especially when I was coaching a lot, I always use sports as far as the avenue to teach tools for life, and use sports for life lessons to be able to overcome adversity and things like that, man. So, this is one of the things, man, we take little jabs, going out corner, give them a little water, spit it out, take them out, piece out. Then we got to come back out swinging, man.
So, we kind of just going to do like a little brief recap on some games that we most definitely would have liked to kind of touch on and kind of give our take on based off of what we've seen. One of the ones that's been so fresh on my mind, obviously, is the West Monroe and the Neville game. So, I've been doing my film study on that, obviously, with Rustin coming up to get ready to play Neville. I mean, like you say, too, man, that was one of the...
We'll play West Monroe.
West Monroe. That was one of the better games, man. Like, I'm talking about one of the better games I've seen all season. Like, going into it, obviously, I had West Monroe picked. Because you remember you texted me, you was like, who you got? And I was like, West Monroe.
Just a little competitive, edge that we had.
And like I said,
I was trying to catch you in the rank.
Yeah.
But actually going into that, we went to, so you went 18-3 the last week we had done. And I went 19-2. I know we both lost the Rustin game. That's actually when Rustin played Ash.
Okay.
We both lost that game. The West Ouachita and Wiseman. You picked Wiseman. I picked West Ouachita.
Okay.
And the Bird and Benton game, I lost on Bird. No, you picked Bird, so you won that one. And I picked Benton. So everything else we had, all the way down. So just catching up. And like I say, it was another week. We was finna record. Then like I said, some things happening. But I was still just interested on the take as far as the Neville and West Monroe game to you, because I know, like I say, I've been saying you're an undercover Neville fan. And then, I don't know, my man seen, I think he, like I told him, he put everything together. And it's a good strategy. And it may be a strategy that you and Colin took from me on when you see light competition. So you seen the way that Ash and West Monroe game. Then I think you correlated that to the Ash and Rustin game. Then compared to Rustin and Neville.
Yeah.
And so when it came to West Monroe and Neville, I think you just up here on West Monroe.
And then, like I say, man, I kind of got out of the matchup phase of it and realized, what does West Monroe do? What's their bread and butter? Running the ball. They're more in between the tackles type of run. Going against Neville, that's something that you ain't gonna really be the most successful.
They probably got one of the best front eights.
Between 0, 9, and then you got number 1 that's in the middle. And then, man, that dog linebacker was playing some
He played some good ball.
Then you got Juju and them in the run fist too. So, that's what I was kind of basing it off of. But then when I went and actually watched the game, I was like, dang, okay, I see why this went how it went. Man, great, like I say, man, it just, I think that, like you said, it's like, depending on what you look, the way you're looking at it, I said, well, West Monroe had opportunities to win, but you made a good point. Nello had opportunities
to
to put their game away.
And they could. Right, exactly.
So it's like, they kind of capitalized on, what they was given. But it kind of made me look at West Monroe offense and be like, man, I got a big question mark.
Right, and I think with that, I think you're catching on, or you realize what I had been saying.
Yeah.
No knock, it's been working. I think that was on their second loss.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you only got to worry about two things.
Punty, Davis.
Right. And then now I done seen them, they sliding the tight end a little bit in. But really Punty and Davis.
Yeah, most definitely.
So if you got a team that can stop the pass in a sense and maintain the run, or stop the run and maintain the pass, I feel like you in good things against, West Monroe. But then we say that, but then it's like, hey, they beat Ash.
And then it's like,
beat Catholic DR.
Even when me and Levance be talking, I was telling him about one of the things I like about Ash and West Monroe is the adjustments that they would make. So even you look at the West Monroe game, they were struggling running that ball up the middle.
They were.
They started bouncing that thing outside.
Right.
They started having some success with that. So to me, that's one of the things that I be looking at in games, because it's like, you got to think about it. You only have so many possessions in the game.
Right.
So you ain't got the whole game trying to figure this out. If you wouldn't win one drive, two drives, and we ain't had no success, bro, we got to start trying to figure something out within this to try to open it up. And that's one of the things that I was looking at. And then even looking at it, I would say too, in my opinion, that was a well-coached game from them. Like you said, I think that towards the end they kind of did get a little conservative in a sense, and they was kind of scared to lose the game. But I'm just looking at them coming out in empty formations, and I'm just looking at the mismatch that they was creating. And a lot of those mismatches came from West Monroe playing man-to-man coverage. So if you look at a lot of them plays, when they send the guy in motion, they send a running back in motion out the backfield, you got the linebacker who's pursuing from over here. So he's having to try to avoid his people snapping the ball. Never just dump the ball off to him in the flats, and he just going to get up the sideline.
Right. And
so they did a good job at being able to exploit those matchups that West Monroe was giving.
And also, I'm not going to say really uncharacteristically, but I know it's not what Never does a lot. And like I say, they read and seen what kind of defense West Monroe was in. They were taking a lot of shots downfield on like first down.
Yeah.
So, you can tell they were game planning, receiver. For Never, 13.
Zeleon. Yeah.
That's him, Zeleon. So, first, if you look at the first beginning of the game, they was really going at, Young and Young begins to touch it. But then all of a sudden, towards the second half, they started turning towards number 19. And so they found another mixed match or whatever. So basically, and crazy thing about it, it was like even the run was still there for them as well. They was running that dive up the middle with a little running back number 3 and 22.
I think
right. And 22 was coming in and doing the same thing. So they really did a great job of keeping Neville off balance.
Yeah.
It was either 14-0, 14-3 or something like that, and then you seen West Monroe started coming back. Okay, Punty can't keep going, really not getting the ball to Davis. So what they started doing, they started running a lot of screens and everything. So they started getting into the game, coming back. Then also it came back, Never like, okay, what they doing now? So now they had to make the adjustment, and you seen, like I say, shout out to my man Coach Young. He was the one that said that about, hey, if you ain't been getting through easy all night, and all of a sudden you get through it easy, you didn't just get good all of a sudden. It's a screen. So you started looking at Neville, they started kind of playing off, and it was like with the screens, it was like you just had certain people watching for screens. So that's why I say it was a real good, heavy, evenly matched game, bro.
And bro, I went back and looked at that. So that, remember the clip I showed you earlier in the parking lot, that touchdown that Neville threw? Bro, that was a perfectly designed play. I'm gonna tell you why. So normally, obviously, Neville runs a lot of RPO too.
Right.
So, with RPO, the linemen are going to be blocking forward because it's an option of him handing the ball off. So what they did was, it's like they had the center and the line on the right, they were blocking forward and they pulled, I think they somehow they ended up having a few linemen blocking, and they pulled the other one. So they had some drop back and they pulled the other one as they was going to be blocking forward. So it's making you think it's a run. So when the linebackers creeped on up, and then even with number 1, because they had him matched up 1-on-1, he was good initially on leverage based off of how he was playing it. But when he thought that they were going to run that ball, he took himself out of the leverage because it made him stop just a split second. And when he stopped, they got the ball to him and he pretty much beat at that point. So that just was a beautiful draw. Like you said, because they had been hurting on West Monroe with the run. So when they ran that play action fade, West Monroe really came downhill aggressive trying to stop it, and then ended up getting hit across the middle with it. So that was once again another good play call. But that goes back to what I was saying with West Monroe. For one, defensively, the weakness to me is those linebackers in coverage. Those linebackers, they're good for shooting gaps, they're good for run fitting, but not necessarily the best at guarding running backs. Obviously, you don't want that matchup. And then even with the offense, it's almost like, okay, they live and everything is predicated around the screens and running the ball. So if you're good at playing assignment football and being able to, make tackles in space, you take away the options of the screens. And then if you're playing assignment football in terms of your run fits and things like that, making sure when you're getting the plenty, y'all tackling as a group opposed to trying to leave one person to have to tackle that big old dude to where it limits and take away those yards after the contact, man, you have a pretty good chance at beating West Monroe. And it's like, I guess that's because it's the RPO. That's the reason why I really don't like the RPO, because it's like with RPO, the ball has to come out your hand quickly. So it almost takes away from a lot of the routes that you can necessarily run with treads because it's RPO. So it's going to really just be bubble screens, slants, out routes. It's not really going to be too many things vertically down the field because the linemen obviously are going to be blocking forward, so you're going to get hit with any other men down the field.
And that's true too. And then, like I say, but kind of talking on that, never came out with an aggressive defensive play. Man, they were blitzing a lot, and it was causing problems and issues. So a lot of them times that you need a play to develop downfield, it wasn't gonna work anyway.
Even if you wouldn't do
right, that's what I'm saying, right? Because they really didn't have the time to for the play to develop. So that's why you've seen they went with a lot of screens. It's like, hey, I'm gonna use your aggression against you. Come on through, and I'm finna go right over your head or to the side of you, and everything like that. And like I said, we catching up for a couple of weeks. Going back to it, and I don't even know, but since we all on West Monroe Neville, let's take it back to the Neville Washita game.
Okay,
came down to the last minute. Neville. My bad. Washita, well, of course, never always jump up, but then let people come back. I don't know why, but hey, I don't know, consistency.
Inconsistency.
Right. But then Washita scores and could have tied the ball game, but went for 2.
Didn't get it.
With 3 minutes left. What you think about that play call?
With 3 minutes left in the game?
That decision. It was roughly 3 minutes left when they scored that would have or could have been a tie.
It made me think that they probably wasn't too confident in
getting the ball back.
That's the only thing I can think of. Because I don't think that they lack confidence offensive wise. I think that when things are clicking and going the way that it's supposed to go, but Washita's a dangerous team offensively.
Right.
Like you said, the way that they play is very unpredictable. You can't prepare or practice, because you don't have that.
Right. That's
so
your ball.
It's very unpredictable.
Unorthodox.
Yeah, it's almost like, Diego Pablo at Vanderbilt, just playing off script. But it's like, the thing is, do we think that we can get the ball back defensively?
Right.
You know what I mean? If we're not too confident in our defense and what they've been doing to us offensively, man, it's like, okay, let's give ourselves a safety blanket just in case.
And the crazy thing about it, it depends on how you look at it. You probably say, hey, let's go for 2. Might not get the ball back. But then again, Mike can say that's why they went for 2.
Because they confident.
They felt like they could have got the ball back the way that it was going. But to me, I think it was an emotional decision because they was down, they scored, crowd going crazy, they played at Washita, everybody hyped. Let's go for 2, let's go for 2. Bro, you had time. Worst case scenario, I'm going overtime, bro. Or if I get the ball back, and if I got confidence in my defense and they been shutting down, maybe I get a chance to kick the game when the field goal. But ultimately, they never did get the ball back or whatever. So that's crazy. And like I say, and then we catching up from 2 weeks, and we can right off of that. That's really all you can say that off of that game. And so since we're touching on Washita, but we can touch on Washita and hey, they all gonna connect to the dots. They all gonna connect. So we can go from Washita and Ash, which another close game for Washita that they could have won. Came down to the last drive, tied ball game. Washita had possession, throws an interception, which. Is that another bad coaching decision to even put that guy in to that position to make that play? Or do we gotta say, hey, I got confidence in my quarterback to make the right decision regardless of what play call I make?
I don't know, man. Like I say, it's almost one of them things, man. Like what we was talking about. Like, and Washington fits that mold perfectly. It's like when it works, it works. And what we say, it's that off-script football. Like obviously, you know, when it works, it's like, man, these guys are, you know, this dude is so, you know, but when it don't work, it's like a whole bunch of things become into question. But it's almost like, okay, if it's working, we either gonna have to win or lose based off of this. It is what it is. This is what we do. This is what he's comfortable with. This is what he's good at. So it's almost one of them things. It's almost like, okay, do I take that away from him and make him play like this, or do I just give him the free reign and just trust that he's gonna make the right play? So it's kind of a toss-up with that. Like me, I'm not big on all the backyard stuff. I like more strategical, surgical.
Right, you know exactly what
but like you say, the thing about it, like even with me and LeVan, so when LeVan's made a post, and he was saying that I would hate to run up on Washington, you know, in the playoffs. So I called. I called LeVan immediately, and I was like, bro, let me ask you. I was like, are you asking that? Are you saying that from if y'all had to possibly
like even saying anybody?
Okay, because I was like, bro, if this is my understanding on Washington. I like Washington. Washington's a good team, but I think
one of the most talented teams.
I think that if you are a disciplined, assignmental football team, it's going to be hard for Washington to really have success because a lot of their bread and butter come off of those off-script plays. So if you got teams that know it, okay, let's look at it from a logical standpoint from the secondary. Connor take off scrambling. If I'm a DB, it's no sense in me leaving my assignment because let's just say hypothetically speaking, I come down and is able to make the tackle and he don't throw the ball over my head. He already got the first down, so there's no way I'm gonna be able to. If the linebackers or the D line couldn't get to him, there's no way I'm gonna be able to get to him before he can get to the first down line. So I'm not gonna leave Waddell Clark alone. If anything, when he take off scrambling, I need to be stuck to him as close stuck to him like glue. So it's like they take advantage of those teams being kind of undisciplined and getting away from their guys. It's almost like the equivalent to when we look at special teams when a ball hit the ground. It's like everybody just stopped, and you almost can tell more times than not that's probably a touchdown. So it's like the equivalent to that, but I think that if you're a disciplined team and you do a good job in trying to keep him in the pocket opposed to allowing for him to be able to roll out and make them plays, I mean, I think that you got a good chance at beating Washington, right?
I mean, and I totally agree with what LeVance is saying. Mm-hmm. And just saying from my point of view of it, of what I'm looking at, and you know me, you know I'm watching these numbers. You know how I like to put together and like, man, you might want to lose this game, so you know you fall right there. But you know, a lot of people ain't really gonna do that, even though I do think Clark did that the other week. But that's a different story. But what I'm looking at, and I think probably the same thing the band's looking at. Okay, you got a team that started off with 4-0, 5-0, 5-0. So then you hit district. Mm-hmm. And they rattled off 4 losses in district. They looking like they are 0-4 in district. Pretty much at the bottom tied for last right now with But you look at all of those losses.
They wouldn't dominate.
Everything is like a 2-possession game.
Yeah,
one for a lot of them. Yeah. 1-possession game I know with Neville. 1-possession game I know with Ash. I think Ruston was it 2014 maybe?
It was 2014, something like that.
Okay, so that's still another 1-possession game.
It wouldn't no
right.
bad lead.
So what and with West Monroe and Washington? I actually don't even remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that one either.
But they're so close to being 0-4 to 4-0 or 3-1 or 2-2 or whatever. And so it's like the way I look at it, we could say coaching decisions. We could say maybe kids just growing up in a moment. But what I look at, and I was talking to my man Erie Downs, which is Dylan Downs' dad over at Sterling. It's like I wouldn't want to see him because we know the talent level is there, and it almost get to the point to I feel like any team grows up throughout the year. So you learn how to handle situations. So even if the coach makes a bad play call, now you're mature enough mentally to overcome that coaching mistake in a sense.
Yeah, that's
so,
what I said. They good players overcome bad
right.
coaches.
That's what I'm saying. And so I feel like right now, mentally, they were still young on the way that they've been dropping some of these games, and all it just needs to do is click. And once it all click, like we've been thinking that it's supposed to be in the beginning of the season, and kind of how it looked like in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, is it false hope, or does it just all of a sudden click?
No, most definitely.
Now, regardless of how it comes out, outside of 2-5-8, I put money that the Watchtower is gonna upset a lot of people. If I'm Rustin, I don't want to see him. I ain't gonna lie about it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you're on a whole nother side of the bracket. And if I do see you, I hope it's in a championship or something.
Yeah.
Cause actually, you get me not Avenger, Neville, West Monroe, and Watchtower. But all three of y'all, I hope y'all all on the other side. I'd rather take my chances against the Zachary's and the Destra Hands and
Central.
Right, Parkway.
Yeah.
Any of them.
Yeah.
And Parkway is undefeated. I would take playing Parkway being undefeated as of right now over any of them schools playing there.
Most definitely.
So, like, man, for that to be like that, so I totally get what Vance is saying about they could be a dangerous team in the playoffs.
Yeah. And then it's another phase that LeVance made a good point on too. And I texted him when he made. I was like, bro, you did make a good point. And when I called him, I was like, because you said that had it not been for a couple special team blunders, Watchtower might arguably have won some of them games. And then I was like, you ain't lying, because one of them touchdowns that Rustin got came off of a block punt in the super score with Keenan. Right. So you take that touchdown away, it could be a whole different ball game. So
stretching that. So then I guess we can go just touch on Watchtower and Ash. Now we can go to Ash and Rustin from where we left off at, how we never did talk about it. And I know some of y'all be joking, y'all thinking every time Rustin lose, we don't come on and we try to avoid the smoke. But that's where we left off at. It was on that week of Ash and Rustin, so we could briefly, I ain't even know you was talking about Rustin and Palm, but we know what that was going to be. That was all week, so we go back to the week before, and we on Rustin and Ash. What you see from that game?
Shout out to Coach Bob. And I know a lot of people will probably be thinking to themselves that Coach Bob is real negative. If you listen to them on post games, and he always, being very critical of Rustin. I know a lot of people saying, well, Coach, they won a game, like, golly. But it's almost one of them things where you never want your team to develop a false sense of hope or a false sense of security, like Coach Saban said. I'm convinced that when you win games that you weren't supposed to win, that's not necessarily a good thing. So Coach Ball was talking about the inconsistencies of Rustin after the scrimmage against Bird. And he was just talking about, man, it's like 1 minute I feel like I'm looking at one of the best teams in the state, and then the very next play, I feel like I'm looking at, like, man, what are we doing? And it's like Rustin has shown me that over the course of this year. It's like, okay, you start off red hot. Things are looking good against Ash. I'm thinking like, man, I'm not expecting this game to be the way that this tournament that it was being. But then the thing I've noticed about Rustin, when they get up, it's like, I don't know if they become complacent, or I don't know if once they get up, they kind of start playing the game to not lose in a sense, and they just become a little bit more conservative with the things that they're calling and the things, what they're doing. And I mean, in a flip of I'm talking about the flip of a switch.
You can see it.
It was just
a big moment
downhill
that man. Has
and I'm just looking at them like, man, come on, bro.
And it's like one of the things, like, a couple people thought Rustin was gonna have a hangover from the previous week of how they came back on Neville. Mm-hmm. And I know the coaches, they ain't gonna let them have no hangover. Mm-hmm. But what I think happened, in my opinion, you come back off a good win against Neville. Then you go into this game and you jumped up 21-3. It gave you that little slight of false hope that you be talking about a lot. Man, Ash ain't what we thought they were. Mm-hmm. So like you start putting your guards down, and Ash punched you dead in the mouth after you done that, and he rocked you, and you never recovered. It was like you got dizzy. And it's like your equilibrium just wasn't there.
You just survived.
Your legs gone right. You just trying to survive around.
That's all it is.
And because it happened so fast, and I remember we was talking about it Me, you, Levance, and if y'all don't know Levance, you know, his son is one of the, you know, good players out there. He based out of Ash, long story short, based out of Ash, and that's one of our guys there, you know, so how we look at it around here for wrestling, he's our guy down there. And so, you know, we was all talking doing it. And my other guy, Tyrone from Alexander, he Peabody guy, but he keeps up a lot. And he had texted me, and he was like, man, wrestling like that. And I'm looking at it, the score is 21-3. But if you look at ball and if you don't play ball, I told him, I said, man, this game is far from over. I remember I sent the text in the group that I showed my boy, I showed Levance what he had text. I said, man, I'm telling him, it was still 21-3. I said, man, this game is far from over. Because I looked at the ways that wrestling had scored. You got the long run from Paul.
It was like 60 or something yards.
Right, so you got that. You didn't have no
drive,
good drive in there. You just went.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got like a 3 and out after that. Well, I looked at Ash. I actually marched the ball all the way down the field. Then defense stood up. They kicked the field goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had to punt. I think maybe on almost like a 3 and out or whatever. And then I forgot how we scored again. What we scored?
Was it the when they fumbled?
No, it wasn't that one. Some
Okay,
scored first, and then that's when the fumble happened, and we was on their end, and then we scored again. Yeah. So I'm like, anyway, the 21 that we got.
Josiah Morgan touchdown.
Deep over the middle.
Yeah,
right. So another deep play, which like we were stagnant, but deep play saved us. Then fumble, and we on their end. We already there. So it's like, damn, we got that, but it's like, I haven't seen nothing convincing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, the way they were running the ball, we ain't stopped it. Then they really done stopped us other than the big plays. It was a long time left. And what I tell you, I said, man, the worst thing that I could do, or we could do, was go into this game 21-17. Going into the half, and they get ball back after half. Well, shit, we didn't even make it up. It was 24-21. I said, bro, and I get it. You want to take the shot, maybe to get a field goal, to kind of push it up. But, man, when we threw that INT, I'm like, wow, it's going to be crazy, bro.
And I get it. It's like even on that play, because Nick Brown was like, he had it. He did have a step on it.
He did.
I mean, you just got to think, man. That's some deep pass, man, for you to have to try to.
And that was a heck of a play made by the corner. Now, it was a little bit underthrown.
Yeah, most definitely.
And man, I don't like to say like no kid is better than the other, none of that. But it seemed like once we went up 21-3, it seemed like we started trying to cater to like some of the players that normally don't get the ball in a sense. I mean, that may just be me outside looking in. It seemed like we just started trying to work stuff and all that. I mean, that wasn't the game for that. And I feel like we got caught with our pants down. It was like we came out.
That ball need to be going to either Powell.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
You know, if you play West Monroe, crunch time, punches, treads.
Right.
You playing Ash, you on crunch time. Well, they got a couple people: Griffin, Noble, Williams, Casey. Like, I don't like you say. I don't be understanding that.
Right.
Yeah. And that be the stuff that I be talking about.
And that's how it was. And we got caught. So long story short, man. And then I even got to touch on the defense part of it, man. They literally ran one play all night, and we just couldn't stop it. No adjustments. I mean,
in the famous words of Saban after that Georgia Southern game. They ran through us like shit through a tin horn. And we could not stop it.
And it was like the same. And the crazy thing about it, me and Levance touched on, I said, man, our big play, which we scored on it, man. I told Levance, I said, man, our big play going to be that little toss sweep.
Yeah.
We scored on it. Hell, they started running like the same play, and we couldn't stop it. I'm like, bro, they just lined up and ran the same play at the same play.
Yeah. And see, like when me and you was having a conversation off camera, and we were just talking about, you know, wrestling in the playoffs and, you know, things like that. And you were just saying, like, man, you don't really see no other team that's just really that big of a threat. And I was like, the thing about it is that I never questioned the talent, because wrestling is by far one of the most talented teams in the state. My thing is, and I wouldn't even necessarily say play calling, man. I just think, like you said, you even hit me over the head with that last year when I was like play calling. It's the timing of when you're calling these plays. Like, it was a play They ran like a little they ran a screen route. They lined Powell up outside the numbers. They ran it back in, ran a screen route, and it was like a 5-yard gain. I'm saying to myself, like, this is the creativity that I want to see on first down, on second down, to be able to get the sticks moving. Right. Let's not wait to third down.
Right, when it's almost obvious.
Right. Let's try to keep them off balance with that, man. Right. And it becomes to the point where they just become so much predictable. Like, I know we always joke, but you see, rest of the 5 wide, what they running?
Quarterback draw.
Quarterback draw. It's like, that's what I don't be liking, man. It's like I get when people be like, well, you want to stay true to who you are. Okay, cool. If you want to stay true to who you are, find variations of what you can do to try to keep the defense off balance. If we're going to go offset eye.
Well,
try to go eye from a spread.
And like I say, and granted, and that's what, talking to our guy, Quail. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was saying. I said, I seen it went more to some, like normally, even when we was in like the 4 wide with the single back, it was like, we were barely running out of that. Mm-hmm. But it was like we have implemented some plays for us to, run and pass out of it. Mm-hmm. And even like I say, I know I joke with 5 wide is a quarterback draw, but we actually have started throwing a little bit more out of 5 wide. But like you say, quit being predictable. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't run first down, second down, now you behind the sticks, third down. 8. You know what's coming. Something like that. And notice, the crazy thing about it, when the quarterback draw works, it is when it's like 30, 12 or something. And everybody thinks it's a pass. Right. And so it happens, man. It happens. So
and me personally, like I say, man, I'm a rusty guy, and I'm not gonna ever be biased, and I'm not gonna never, like for me, I don't want to hear I don't want to hear no cheating. I don't want to hear this person ain't, man, at the end of the day, you got to be able to play through it. You show up and play. So kudos to Ash. But I do believe that Rustin was much better than they
definitely way much better than what they showed.
Yeah. I'm not saying that they were necessarily, I'm just saying they were much better than what they did.
So you're going to say being up 21-3. Mm-hmm. So you saying you feel Rustin gave it to him more than Ash took it back?
Nah, I feel like they took it back because them boys still had to fight through adversity, so I ain't gonna discredit that.
And then one thing that I looked at, and it became easy to see, wherever number 50 went,
that's where they were running.
That's where the ball went. So it's like, why you not telling your linebacker, hey, wherever 50 go, just shoot. And clog it up, make them bounce out or something, but 50 would either they was going right over, or if they were coming to the other side, 50 was actually pulling, and they were still falling right behind number 50.
Mm-hmm. And I would say too, I know you always hear me talk about this, but I agree with Coach Belichick. Fundamentals win games. And what is fundamentals? Fundamentals are the things that take place every play. So from a defensive standpoint, in my linebacker D-line, what's part of fundamentals? Block shedding. Being aggressive with your hands. Don't just throw your body into blockers. Be aggressive at the point of attack with your hands, man. Trying to fight off a block. Don't try to avoid it. I mean, because at that point, you're doing the offensive line injustice. If you take yourself out the play, okay, cool. You don't want none of this. Let me go climb up and get this dude who's trying to block. Now we're looking at a 10, 15 some yard run. So that's just my thing. I think they got the pieces there. It's just consistently putting them together. That's where I'm having my question marks. And granted, same, and you just put me on something with this. The same way we said about Washington. Okay, yeah, they lost. I think the Stephenville game, in a sense, was a learning. Right. So it's almost like one of these things now. Okay, guys, this is what we need to get better at. This is a darn good football team in Ash, right? So look at how we played at the beginning half of it, regardless of that. So if we can just consistently look at how we played in the back half of the Neville game against another good football team, if we can come out with this same system, urgency, and execution early on, bro, we will be a hard team to beat.
Right, and saying that, and then like what I had started saying, I was like, man, my thing is, we turning into like a second half for a fourth quarter team. And that's dangerous. Because you can't come back from behind on everybody. Because even like you look at when we played Washington, we didn't really start going until fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Played Neville, we're getting drove until fourth quarter. Finally had jumped out on Ash. I'm like, okay, now we finna put it together. But
it was over.
It did. Now last night, he touched on Powell, a little scrimmage, however you want to call it.
I'm good. I didn't watch that.
No, I was tuned in to Neville tomorrow. I told you I was watching all night.
I was everywhere, man. I was on Corey, on Curtis.
I was looking at Ash and Washington a little bit. I mean, I tuned into the Carter Curtis, but after that first quarter, I turned the TV. Wasn't no use of going back. So I mostly focused in on that Neville West Monroe game.
And while we on Ash too, I'm glad we just kept just our thought, man. So like up in our area up here, we have Aaron Aces, where you have guys that ball out, they get their recognition. And I guess down there on where they at in Alexandria, you had Jakyron Griffin and you had Latravius Williams, who was both recognized for their stellar play in their game. I think Latravius Williams had like 20-some tackles and an interception. Bro. I think Jakyron, he had I think maybe 7 tackles and an interception. And man, and it's so crazy. Because, off camera, I talk with you and I talk with Levine's, and I was just saying, like, to me, that kid is, one of the better players obviously in the district, but not even just that, but just in the state, just because I'm saying, okay, this kid affects the game in all aspects. Offense, defense, special teams. And then you see him on defense, I've seen him take the challenge of going up against a mod one-on-one. I've seen him being over the top as a safety more so. And the thing that I tell Levance all the time that stands out to him, by me being a defensive guy, is the tackling. I love that he's willing to come downhill and lay that wood. Like, so that's that's an aspect that I love to see from DBs, just like no different than Levan's son. And then, like I said, man, just hearing, talking to Levan and just hearing how his son just watches special teams. Like, even when he said, because he said something about, he made a reference to something Rustin was doing on special teams.
Right. And I'm just like, motioning the guy over just to be an extra block.
And I'm just looking, I'm listening to him. I'm like, man, I would love to sit there.
They game plan for a kid on special teams, bro.
Most definitely. And that goes to show you, but that's one of the reasons. And even off camera, we said, who is the all-around better team? One of the all-around better teams on all three phases of the game. Right. Alexandria most definitely is one.
And crazy thing about it, man, bringing that up, going back to the rest of the game, they game planning, guess what? Mm-hmm. Kids still got a block punt. Still got a block punt. And speaking of block punt, like I said, we ain't gonna say nobody cheated, but they got us on that call. When he blocked it, he tilted, it hit Ash player, and we recovered. But they said it didn't go past the first down marker, so that's why Ash got the ball back. But I feel like once he blocked it, that made it a live ball. And it hit them, we recovered. It should have been our ball. But, like I said, I ain't going to be no watch talk guy. I ain't going to say we got cheated or nothing. Yeah. Hey, that's a bad call. I got to be able to play through it. You're up 21-3. You never should have let them come back. That's what I'm going to blame it on.
I'm going to hit you with the better check responses. Yeah, but you should have put yourself in that position.
What I just said, it was up 21-3. You should never let a guy back that close. So I'm not gonna say we got cheated. That's not me. You gotta be able to play through it. You had to leave. Hey, you do what you gotta do. You ain't in that situation, bro. So what? That's the wrap up from catching up for the 2 weeks that we've been out.
Nah, most definitely not. It's been some interesting football, man. We still got some, 1 more week left to go. So you know how we do, man. We kind of just did a brief recap on the previous weeks that we missed. So now we coming up into this week, man. And I know some people might be saying, if just in case you from down south, well, y'all ain't touching the car.
But you know what it is.
Yeah, I'm like Derek. Like, it almost.
You know what it is. Ain't even no use of bringing it up.
I will say, based on what I've seen, cars both.
I mean, like I said, the only other thing we talk about, big game down that way, Zachary dropped their game to Central, which that was another good game. I think it was like 35-33 or 33-31, something like that.
And then that Evangeline on LCA,
that was a great game last week, and wish that we would have had that on games of the week, and that came down crunch time, and Pop going in to take the lead, and got hit and ended up fumbling, man. So that was another great game from that way. Let's see, anything else? I mean, I think the West Washington Wasman was a big upset or whatever. Not just because I picked it, but it was just, I think that gave West Washington a lot of momentum going into that. The OCS Mangum, that was a pretty good game. Okay, that was the other one that I won that you had lost. So you had Mangum and I picked OCS. So I think at that point, OCS still undefeated. I really think that's really about it, though, as far as going through the 2 weeks of games that really, just kind of touch on everything else. Well, now, actually, that Benton Bird game was a pretty good game. Yeah, Bird ended up winning that. Malachi Ziegler, he had a good game, but at the end of the day, just want to get it done.
Right. Keep that sucker on the sideline. That's how you beat them high-powered offenses. Be able to run the football. So now we're just, you know how we do. We're gonna jump into this week. We got our games that we look at, you know, kind of like
Man,
that.
we ain't put week 10 last week. Let me throw it up.
I'm glad I got that right. That's why I asked you before we started recording. What week that was again? He's like, okay, we didn't. So I was like, okay, I got you. Cool. So, man, we're gonna start it off, man. We're gonna go to a game in our district, Powell versus Washington.
We on that. I didn't even know you was going to scrimmage week for O Block.
Yeah, most definitely.
Preparing for the playoffs.
Yeah. You got some guys that might need the rest, and hey, this will be the time to do it.
Get some youngsters in.
Yeah. So then we got West Washington and Grant.
Like I say, most got a big win over Wiseman.
I'm going to go with West Washington on that one.
I'm going with Whoa. Grant it was another game Grant had, and they dropped it.
So then after that one, we got Mangum versus Delhi Charter, my bad.
Charter.
I'm going to have to go with Mangum on that one.
Mangum on that one, yeah. Mangum going to bounce back. Get ready. Probably going to be like how that O-Block game was. And get some of the rest on the starters and stuff like that.
We got Ben versus Natchitoches Central. I'm going to go with Natchitoches Central on that one.
See, you talk about Nat, and I said I wasn't picking Ben no more. I said that. And I know you be on Next Central. Somehow they scored and they got a. I still ain't watched them this year, bro.
It's almost like they just getting outscored pretty much.
and you on that. I want to ride with Ziegler so bad.
Yeah. But
I picked against Negative Central every time, and they made me eat it pretty much, except for I think one time. I think it's time for me to finally pick him.
With him. Hey, this is the week 4, man.
Hey,
shout out to Brian Laird, man. He used to be coach at
and just a little thing between us as far as our picks. I did, bro. We are dead tied going into the very last week.
That's crazy.
So it's like whoever win this week, that's who winning it as far as the regular season.
Yeah. So now after that one, we got Wiseman versus Peabody. I'm about to go Wiseman on that one.
Yeah. Peabody, them war horses, they just not the same with a pass. Like I say, we've talked about it early in the season with Dyer, what they're doing as the coach. They got that family atmosphere going, so I'm going Wiseman too.
Then we got Carroll versus Richwood. I'm about to go with Carroll on that one.
You're going Carroll. That's going to be a good one. I think I'm going to jump on a limb because I like the win. I think Richwood had put a good win over West Washington early in the season. I'm going to jump out on a limb. I think they did.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump out. Got my man Trey Lane over there. He just got a scholarship off in basketball, so shout out to him. Being, he's a QB, but he also a big man, plays the wing pretty good for Richwood basketball, but that's a QB over there. I'm going to put it in his hands, and I'm going Richwood.
Okay. We got Homer versus Darbon Woods. I'm about to go with Darbon Woods.
You going Darbon? I'm trying to see. This one, see where I like to use that light competition. And Darbon actually... That was another one you touched on over the week, Union and Darbon, but Union kind of put it on Darbon pretty good.
Yeah.
Union put it on Homer pretty good. I think I'm going to go D-Dub too, man. But Homer may have too many athletes for him. Like I say, I think that structure showed the talent.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the structure.
That structure going to take you pretty far.
Right. I'm going D-Dub.
So then after that one, we got Cedar Creek versus Jonesboro High. I'm going to go with Cedar Creek.
I'm going CC on that one. And shout out CC, been playing some good ball, man. The week we missed, CC actually played Lincoln Prep, and they had a big win over Lincoln Prep.
So after that, we got Haynesville going up against Glenbrook. We have to go with Haynesville on that one.
We just did that just for,
Yeah, shout out to my partner, man.
Right.
He always bragging on his hometown, rightfully so.
We gotta give it to him, right?
So I throw them up in there.
He makes the board.
And he been calling this since I'm talking about well before the season started.
Right.
So he ain't changed some of his big since. So next one we got shout out to Miss Alicia and her son. I think he been actually making some plays
Some
on.
plays,
Yeah.
coming through and doing good.
So I'm about to ride. We got Winfield gonna be going up against Lakeside.
I don't know.
I'm about to ride with Winfield.
I'm going Winfield just for the sake of the home team to us. As far as knowing them. Go on Winfield.
Yeah, I know the kid. He's very passionate about the game. She always telling me about it. So I love to hear how passionate he is about the game, and it's good to see that be able to translate over to the football field for him. So after that one, man, it's gonna be a pretty good one right here. Lincoln Prep versus Arcadia.
It is, and that's one. And very well, it was close to making one of the game of the week. You know, it's just that small school stature, and it's a rivalry right down the road. Arcadia had a big homecoming last week that they lost, but you know they ain't take no easy way out. They went with a pretty difficult team.
I think I'm about to go with Lincoln Prep.
Ah man, I thought you were going Arcadia, but I'm actually gonna go Lincoln Prep myself. Man, Lincoln Prep is right there on the verge of doing something real nice, man. It's like they just like 2-3 players away, man, from having something special.
Yeah,
right?
most definitely. Now, we got Airline versus Huntington, which is going to be an interesting game. Now, only thing that makes me nervous about Huntington is just seeing how they kind of started the season off at a
They
just kind of been declining.
Right.
And not discrediting Evangel, but when I see how Evangel put it on them, I'm not surprised that Evangel won the game.
Right.
But I'm surprised at
Just
how
the way
they
the
won the game.
of
I
how,
think
right.
Huntington only scored 14 points.
Right.
So I'm saying to
And,
myself,
you know, I was big on Huntington defense, looking at how they had played with
yeah. But the way it's looking, I'm gonna have to ride with Airline.
That's me too. And
My boy Kenny Darby. I couldn't get his name. I could not get his name. I cannot get his
I
name
think
right
it's
for
gonna be
nothing.
too much Darby, bro.
But go back. What was we just talking about? When we talking about Rustin. You put the ball in your playmaker's hand. So what they say? We get the Parkway game. Wait, hold up. We can't throw the ball downfield to him. Got some for it.
We're gonna just and they ran it. And it wasn't Airline offense. It was just the defense. Couldn't get no stops on Parkway.
He texts me. He like, hey bro, what position you
Hey,
play?
it confused me. I'm like, bro, they boy running ball. They boy running back. He ain't even playing receiver.
So, man, we got a rivalry on. This game right here is a rivalry. You know, as you know, I'm Shreve, / Preston. I went to Shreve for 3 years, graduated from Preston High though. But I'm from Preston, obviously. But you got Bird versus Shreve, man. Like, this was like, in Shreve, this was our Rustin versus Neville. Right. So, you know, when you have all the little gimmicks and stuff going on, like beat Neville week, we're gonna be blackout Monday, this, that, and the third. This is that for Shreve. But I'm gonna have to go with Shreve on this one. Bird just haven't been consistent enough for me.
And it's also like Bird just haven't had enough of that power football to just really get it done to run what they've been wanting to run. Yeah. So I think Shreve has been looking more consistent. So I'm going to Captain Shreve.
Yeah, and I just don't. I mean, I just think that with this Bird offense, most definitely that you're a lot more capable to get stops on them opposed to how it was last year, where it was just like it was kind of hard.
It just seems like they don't have that power.
Most definitely not. So man, this is another one we had originally until we kind of went back and looked at other games.
We had it on the board.
Yeah, that was Union versus Sterlington. Oh man, obviously I'm gonna have to ride with Sterlington.
Yeah, I mean that's my hometown. They had a nice little homecoming last week, but the team dropped out, so they got a free dub. Sterlington started playing and going home, so shout out to the Birch boys and my man Dylan Downs over there. I'm going with Sterlington. And actually, who that? Bastrop? Man, Dylan Downs had a big game against Bastrop while we was out or whatever. I think he had 2 touchdowns, but 3 big catches, almost 200 yards receiving. Yeah. Pretty good game, man.
On the clock, Sterlington Union.
Yeah. This. I don't think it quite gets that bad. I think it got to be up by 40. They gonna be about 30.
So 10 points short.
They gonna be about 30.
Well, let me ask you this: what's the chances of us seeing the upset?
20%. I just don't feel, even though Union played some
tough team, they did.
So it's not even that. It's just the DNA of what Union likes to do and what they've done in the past, I just don't feel like they have those same caliber of players versus what Sterling has. You know, both of them, you're looking at it, you know, made good runs of state. Sterling actually won state. And you can almost say that this Sterling team looks better this year than it did last year. Or whatever. You know, some running backs, you know, got older, got bigger, got wiser, whatever. Quarterback playing a little bit more discipline. They look better now, to me, than what they did last year. They added another little formation, which is almost the same thing, just coming out of different formation, but hey, it worked. It had watch-top throw for a little bit, you know. But like I say, bro, it's the same thing. But for whatever they call it, the Navy offense, I call it wing T. Mm-hmm. But you know, same thing. It works. They're going down the field a little bit more than what they normally do. I think Sterling look better compared to what Union has. So even though Union has been tested, I still think Sterling just got too much fun.
Be like this sometimes, man. Sometimes teams just better. So, you know, this is the last one on this undercard, man. We got OCS.
It was on the board too, man.
Yeah.
We took it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go first. I normally don't pick against OG. I like OG, but I did ride with OCS against the Mangum. Then I'm thinking about the Mangum and the Oak Grove game, and Mangum actually pulled out. And I'll probably make you change your answer if you didn't, because Mangum beat Oak Grove, which was surprising to me. So with that being said, with like the opponent, since OCS beat Mangum, Mangum beat Oak Grove, I'm going OCS, dog.
I'm going to stick with Oak Grove.
Okay. You roll with OG.
Yeah, I like Oak Grove, man.
You roll with OG.
Let's stick with Oak Grove.
I'm going OCS.
So now, man, coming up this week, now we at the main card, man. We at the main card fights, man. So first game, you know, normally I have my little call out sheet. This week we was a little short on hand, so we don't have to go with the improvise. You know what I mean? We do
Freestyle.
Yeah, most
Lil
definitely.
Wayne.
So we got Tioga going up against Franklin Parish, man, which is gonna be a dorm.
That's gonna be a dorm, man. I see these other games. And we know the implications of this and how it can all work out. I think they had the same thing going on as far as whoever wins.
Take district.
Man, Tioga has been a team that, like I said, I've never really paid attention to Tioga because they normally don't compete and contend. Their receiver just flipped his offer from Tech to LSU. So we're not the only one that's been paying attention to Tioga. We already was on Franklin Parish early in the season.
Yeah, even last year, honestly.
On them. So it's like the big dog versus the up and coming dog. It's a hard one to pick on me.
So it's almost kind of like similar to how Franklin Parish last year was. It's like everybody was like, they good, but they just ain't quite there yet. We looking forward to them doing bigger things next year. It's almost like it's that kind of the same thing with Tioga.
In a sense, because it's like Tioga winning. They doing what they need to do. But are you ready for that spotlight?
That's the biggest question.
Because this is their first time being in that spotlight game.
And Franklin Parish, and you know, they done been.
They've been battle tested. Like I say, way they put their whipping on Calvary. They beat actually last week they beat Wiseman pretty convincing. Man, I don't know if Tioga is there yet. You gotta make me a believer. This game will make me a believer. Definitely going into the playoffs.
Just kind of going based off of familiarity with who I know Franklin Parish to face and kind of how I know how those games shaped out and things of that nature. I think I'm going to have to roll Franklin Parish on that one.
That's all, man. This is one I'm really not. I wouldn't be surprised if
Tioga pull it off.
Tioga pull it off.
Yeah, nah, most definitely.
But like I say, just for right now, where we sitting, I'm going Franklin Parish too.
Okay. So, man, the next game. Now, we all touched on y'all none down south. You know, we got Zachary going up against Captain BR. Obviously, you know, we know what Captain BR brings to the table. We know what Zachary brings to the table. For me, a questionable loss early on. Obviously, I don't say it's questionable, but when I compare both of the teams based off of what I knew that they had, in my mind, I thought that Captain BR win that West Monroe game. And granted, it could be one of the things that you always talk about. It's all about ball dictating to the offense. So if me dictate to the defense. So if we can do what we want to do and keep y'all off balance, especially with on West Monroe. If we can keep running the ball down y'all throat and y'all can't stop this, we finna keep that quarterback, that offense that y'all got, we can keep y'all on that field, on that sideline. So as long as our chances of beating y'all is greater if we keep you over here. Now with that being said, you know what Zachary brings to the table. So Catholic losing to West Monroe, it almost leads me to believe, are they having problems with run fits? One thing we know about Zachary gonna run that football. So it's almost like, man, if you can't stop. And last year, this game was a shootout. I remember that game. That game went down to the wire. Catholic BR being played. I know we talk about Shreveport being 7-on-7, but that game was definitely like a 7-on-7 last year. I'm talking about it was very minimal defense being played. But with all that being said, man, honestly, man, I think I gotta go with Zachary, bro.
Hey, I mean, we've looked at both teams. No close eye. Mm-hmm. I'm going Catholic. I told this. It's just something about the structure
and that's
of the way that they play. Mm-hmm. I really like it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like I say, it's just one of them teams that they're disciplined. Mm-hmm. And they don't too much. I mean, it's like if you beat them, you just flat out beat them. Mm-hmm. It ain't like they ain't gonna too much give you the game. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that, just say like if they got ass 21-3. Mm-hmm. They ain't giving that game back, like in my opinion. I've yet to seen it, you know.
So they don't hurt themselves.
Go like that, exactly. And I looked at the Zachary and Central game, and Zachary, good team. But what gets me with Zachary when they lost to that other team, bro, it's like, what's going on? Something, and like I say, and there was times in that Central game. It was like, Zachary normally better than this, man. Yeah. But I'm going Catholic Bill. I'm just saying, bro.
And see, though, and for people who may not know, like when you talk about, football games, won and lost, talk about, turnovers. We talk about penalties, pre-snap, post-snap penalties, things that's pushing you behind the sticks. It's a thing called hidden yardage that a lot of people don't pay attention to. So that's yards gained after interceptions, yards gained after fumbles, yards gained on punt returns, yards gained on kick returns, and all those things. So turning the ball over in a lot of ways hurts you in terms of field position. And, man, a lot of times, man, they can cost you the game, man. So, and that also could have been one of the things that was kind of plaguing Catholic BR in that game against West Monroe. A few costly penalties, few costly turnovers, put them in, flip the field position and put West Monroe in a good position to be able to score the ball. It's much better starting the ball from plus field position than opposed to starting that thing at the 20 or anything less than that. Put you in a better position to end up winning that game. So right here, man, we got another perennial matchup, man. Powerhouses of the Shreveport area, if anything, they might be the kings of the 7-on-7, if you want to say that. But you got Parkway coming into this game against Evangel. And like you said, man, I think Parkway's still undefeated.
Still undefeated.
To my knowledge, I don't think nobody beat Parkway.
I think they're still undefeated right now.
And the only team that up until Evangel, the only team that I thought would have been a team that capable of beating them would have been Airline. Just kind of based off of how that was. But seeing what I've seen against in the Airline game, I kind of like what I see. But, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Evangel.
Parkway is 9-0.
I'm liking what I'm seeing from Evangel. Like, I'm going to be honest. It's like I said, I didn't really expect them to be doing what they're doing in a sense. I knew that they were going to be much better. I just didn't think that they were going to be in this position. Because Evangel easily is one of those teams like Washington. You change a few things within those games. Pop don't fumble that ball, they win that game.
LCA is a darn good team.
Yeah, and in the Neville game, if coach just say, man, you know what, I'm gonna put this ball in my best player's hands and let Pop try to, do his thing with it, they might not win that game. But they might end up winning that game, you know what I mean? So I like what they bring to the table. I like what I'm seeing in terms of the defense. It's not like it was the Evangel of old from last year where they was just having to try to outscore teams in order to beat them. It looked like they become a little bit more structured, a little bit more experienced, might be a little bit more conditioned on the defensive side of the ball, man. So I'm gonna go with Evangel. And I like what what Evangel as a whole team brings, but I like what they do with Pop and kind of the creativity and the freedom that they give him within that offense.
And with me, it's like I always say Parkway is like one of the better defensive teams over there. Mm-hmm. But the way Pop been slinging, like I say, Parkway is undefeated 9-0. Evangel is actually 7-2. With the 2 losses, Evangel has only lost to a combined of 3 points. Mm-hmm. Losing by 1 to Neville and losing by 2 to LCA. LCA been beating the bricks off people, so for them to be right there, hey.
No, it was Central that beat the brakes off for you.
I was say, but with that, man, something special is going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to Belgium.
And you know something? That's why I would have to go watch Evangel games into a little bit more detail. And I'm gonna tell you what I think is working for Evangel this year, and I think that they've developed a more consistent run game that makes them a little bit more well balanced, opposed to Pop just kind of sitting back there and having to play 7-on-7 all game.
My big question mark, or what I'm saying that gotta be fixed, is that defense.
Mm-hmm. And
it's like, what doesn't happen to make the defense, because, like I said, we seen last year when they won, it was shootouts. They basically outscored teams. They're getting stops this year.
Mm-hmm. And
so it's like you say, we know they got a couple guys that play both sides. So what are they doing for that starting running back? That's the starting linebacker. Why he ain't tired no more? Like, so what are they doing? So that's right. They plays the corner. Right. So I might have to go look at a game, because I don't know, that game may be a Thursday night game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let me
see. I just had it up. When 11-7.
11-7.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Click on that.
But I think something too that Evangel does real good as well is finding extensions of the run. Meaning that if we can't run it from a traditional standpoint,
it's Friday night.
Just do a lot of screens, wide receiver screens, stuff like that, trying to get the ball out of hand. And
I'm definitely gonna have to go catch a game before Friday and look at something with Evangel.
And see what they got going over there exactly. So then, man, we got one that, obviously this could have been, a game of the week. Neville versus Ash. This is gonna be an interesting matchup. I even text Levance that when I went back and looked at the Neville or West Monroe game, I was like, bro, I think it's gonna be an interesting matchup with y'all. And I know my fan Levance scared of the spread. That was one of the things that he was saying that, with Rustin, like, man, I'm scared of this. He say, coach, I'm scared of the spread, coach. I'm worried about that. I want y'all to just stay in that traditional I formation. Y'all do what you got.
But Neville spread is not, it's not technically a spread. Yeah. It's just like a 3-man wide with a slot receiver. Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll send a running back out the backfield and make it an empty formation. So they give you more of a 5-wide look. And kind of what they was doing against West Monroe. Now, granted, that was the first time I had seen that really like that consistently. So it might have just been one of them things where they knew that they was going to be able to capitalize on a team that play a lot of man-to-man coverage. But that running back beating them defense type stuff, that's not going to work against Ash. Ash is much more athletic laterally. So and then you're going to have, what's my man name? Phoenix. I'm real big on him. Bryson Phoenix. You're going to have him one that you're going to have to worry about. So he's one of the ones that can get sideline to sideline with you and match you with the athleticism on top of the physicality. So that's always going to be like it. Man, you put it into perspective earlier today, bro. When we was talking off camera, we talk about ball all the time off camera. And I asked him about Carr. I was like, bro, how would you attack Carr? So Derek went into breaking down how here's what he did. He's like, bro, I don't see no weaknesses with Carr. He was like, this is how I would play Rustin. This is how I would play Neville. This is how I would play Ash. And this is how I play Washington. Meaning that these are the things that I've seen them struggle with. So I know how to attack it. So it's like, looking at it from that standpoint, I'm saying, okay, my biggest thing with Neville is the consistency. Right. That's the biggest thing with me. It's like they start off, it's almost equivalent to Rustin, man. They start off playing lights out, and you just looking and saying, man, how is this team not ahead of where they actually at? And then at some point in the game, they just start to decline. I don't know if it's because it was lack of effort or whatever, or lack of motivation, or just lacking discipline, lacking the structure, or whatever the case may be, or even just kind of being conservative play calling. They just take a dip off. And I think, like we say, Ash is most definitely one of the best well-rounded teams in the division. When it comes to offense, when it comes to defense, when it comes to special teams. And then I always give the Coach Bachman a lot of credit for how they run the offense.
Right, I think they are one of those, especially when it comes to offense. Yeah. When we talk about a systematic team, they're definitely one of the better systematic teams in the state. Like I say, I even brought it up to, our guy Advance about the difference between the play calling before JT really started being JT versus to when JT was JT to now that JT gone. And it's like, to me, it's like not saying that he focused on JT too much, but it took him, like they say, out of his bag.
Mm-hmm.
He's back in his bag now, man, and he's dialing up some stuff that works. Man, what I like about all of this, man, and it just shows you the strength and the power of District 2-5A. Any 4 of these teams could possibly be district champs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at it, and I was wondering, and I talked to LeVance, and was like, well, it could be a share. But I think the way that they're doing it and the way that it done broke down that everybody that done beat everybody, and with Washington not beating nobody, it's whoever get the 2 dubs, the 2 teams that win, they head-to-head determines who wins state.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, let me go straight off. If Neville beats Ash, Reston beats West Monroe. Reston get it because they beat Neville. If you go backwards, if Ash beat Neville, West Monroe beat that, then West Monroe gets it because they beat that. You crisscross it, or however, vice versa. If Neville wins, West Monroe wins, then actually Neville is win district because they beat West Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa going the other way. If Ruston wins, Ash wins, then Ash get it because they beat Ruston. Man, I don't think I could ever think of a year that it's been like this, bro. And so at first, because it was wondering me when I seen K1, I was like, if such and such be such, I'm like, what, bro? No, I'm thinking that with every team having 1 loss in district, if Neville beat Ash, Ruston beat it, then bam, it's a 2-way tie for state champs. But I'm thinking about the year when Ruston shared it with West Monroe, but it was because Washita beat West Monroe that year, and Ruston ended up dropping to Neville or somebody. But it was that other piece thrown in now. Washita, that other piece, they ain't beat nobody this year, except for when they beat this week in their scrimmage. But man, stop laughing, bro. But with those playoffs implications, bro, district title implications, that gives Neville a lot more to play for that they probably kind of almost felt that they was out of when they dropped that game to St. Thomas More. They dropped that game to Oak Grove out of Mississippi, and the way Ruston comes back and beat them. Man, I look at it, and off top, my first mindset, I say Ash. But when I look at what Ash do versus what Neville does, Ash struggled with West Monroe from one person. Neville has 3 decent receivers compared to that one.
Just trades.
What did West Monroe do to beat Ash? They ran a lot of what?
Screens.
What does Neville pretty decent at?
Tackling the space from
ball pursuit. Offensive.
Offensive.
They run screens as well.
Yeah,
they test you downfield, but if you're on that, they go a lot of screens.
Yeah.
I like Ash offense, but it's more run oriented to me versus traditionally in the pass, it will be the pass. You ain't finna run that on what you done to Ruston. Running that one play, you're not finna do that to Neville. So my strategic planning for the game, I like what Neville got more, bro.
So even when we was talking about,
But Ash is the most complete team.
Yeah, not even just that. We was talking about how Ash is one of the most well-rounded offenses in state. Same thing can be said in terms of Neville, especially when it comes to scheme-wise, without enough auto blitzes. Now the thing is Ash going to be really getting hurt with that, trying to throw the ball downfield, or if they whole thing is going to be, let's just get this ball out of our hand quick, because we ain't got time for them to be developing downfield. But Ash don't really attack downfield like that.
That's what I'm saying, right. So, and then he said, I'm giving Ash the credit of probably being the best systematic offense, and then you came back with Neville, probably the best defense coordinator in the state with the way that they do things and the way they move people around and pieces. Neville defense matches up well with Ash.
And I think
Ash defense, I don't know, but it's like, man.
And And I think like I say, it's one of those things where I think that Neville's defense does have the capability of dictating to the Ash offense, basically saying, "Well, y'all have to beat us another way to run that ball.
Right.
And if y'all gonna run that ball, y'all have to find yourselves in third and long, because that 5 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards out there against Western, that ain't happening this week, big dog."
How Neville done gave up they wins. Though.
Yeah, most definitely.
I don't put it like this. With the exception of the Oak Grove game, Neville has outplayed every team that they've lost to.
Technically.
Up until the end.
Technically.
You jumped up on Preston. You jumped up 16-0 on St. Thomas More. You jumped up 14-0, 14-3 to West Monroe.
They jumped up on Washington.
Right. They got to put a complete game together, bro. I'm going Neville. I'm going on the limb. I'm going on the limb.
This is one of the things that make me.
And even on top of that, I need Neville to win for me to be district champion.
Yeah. Even thing with this, like I say, it's me and Levance was talking, and I think that an underrated aspect of football that people really do not pay enough attention to is 3 phases of football: offense, defense, special teams. Most people focus on these 2, and they don't focus on special teams. So we know that Ash is capable.
Neville struggles a lot on special teams.
The commentators
That's a good point.
Commentators had me in tears with the guy not feeling them punts and keeping them in the
we got to get somebody else out.
And we know Latravius Williams.
He is a special team being.
Will be coming. And I'm not going to even just say Trey, bro. Man, I'm looking at that game, and it's like that team as a whole take pride in special teams.
They buy in.
Like, I'm just looking at
they
that,
buy into
and I'm saying it's impressive. You know what I mean?
That's a good
With that being said, man, I think I'm going to have to go with Ash on this one.
I'm not against it. I'm just jumping out there on a limb because I need some stuff to shake.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to shake. But like I say, the two phases of the game out of the 3 that we're talking about, I feel like Neville could overcome that 3rd. And see, you say it's 3, and it is, but you know my big aspect of it is the mental side. But hell, Neville trending.
They be up and down. You know? Yeah. So
I'm gonna stick with it, bro. I'm sticking with Neville.
It's like with Neville, you ask yourself, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I ain't just picking on Neville because this not only applies to them, it's to them. The scary thing about those 2 teams is that you never know what version of them that you're gonna get. So that's what makes it so unpredictable. Like with Ash, for the most part, they've been very consistent to who they are. You know, no different than West Monroe. They've been very consistent. But it's like I say, Neville and Ruston are 2 teams that 1 minute you looking and saying, bro, this got to be one of the best teams in the state. And the very next minute you saying, this going to be our first round exit.
I touched on just a little bit more in the details going by power rankings and stuff. You know, I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if Neville pulled off this win against Ash and if West Monroe beats Ruston, then now Neville will be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs. Neville will be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs.
It's a lot on the line.
It's a lot on the line with this last week. And, man, that's the way that you want football to come down.
Most definitely. I'm excited. I'm just glad I get the parents and witness and be a part of it. I just think I just think as a whole, and like I say, man, and once again, I'm discrediting. This is where I put these 2 up over this one, is the lack of adjustments. So it's like Coach Bachman, okay, watching film on Neville, we've seen what they did against Russell, we see what they did against Washington-like opponents, right? We know one thing about Coach Collins. He dials up some blitzes, some disguises. He blitz guys. He drop guys back in the cover. Sometimes he rush street, drop everybody back. Sometimes he rush off four. Sometimes he runs an all-out blitz. But I think that Coach Bachman is going to say, okay, how do I counterattack the blitzes? Get that ball out of our hand quickly. So that's when they're going to incorporate more screens and things and stuff like that. Now, granted, this is the thing. We seen what Neville was able to do against West Monroe. Neville can tackle in space. And they ball pursuit is phenomenal. And
they look
and that D-line is athletic. They can run laterally. They can run downfield. They can rush the court. So it's almost one of them things, like you say, it matches up well what they do to try to take away from the short game. And I'm just curious to see how Ash is going to go up against Neville's offense in terms of what they possibly can bring to the table. And like I say, because, they do got some explosive players. I mean, I think a lot of times we put a lot of focus on Zaylon Young, which rightfully so, but I think those guys...
Now, as far as when it comes to the passing game, as a whole, I love Ash secondary.
No, most definitely.
As far as, cause hell, I know we touch on Trey and what's your boy number 5 name?
Jakari Griffin.
But 17 comes in.
Yeah.
And he does he held Amari one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
They took 5 off of him.
Mm-hmm.
And 17 came in and they held him one-on-one. And then I think somebody got hurt or got a cramp. Number 7 came in.
Mm-hmm. And
7 did his thing. So they're definitely going to match up well against Neville.
You want to know something scary on top of that?
Offense.
They got another ball on that bench too, number 21, who matched up good against Jabari Mack early on the season.
So that's what I'm saying. And the honest truth be told, I really haven't seen nobody run the ball against Ash like talking about.
Nah, because West Monroe's killing with them screens. Because they couldn't run the ball.
They can't run the ball.
And other than that big play Rustin gave up, other than that big play they gave up against Rustin, they straight Rustin.
They didn't have who were that? They had a good game against.
Rustin?
No, well, it might have been West Monroe too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't.
He was ripping off some here and there. It wasn't like no big explosive plays.
Right.
But I mean, he was, getting some 5-yard carries and things like I say, man, Ash is not only just physical up front, but they just like Neville, they athletic. Like I say, the guy big on that defense is Bryson Phoenix, man. He puts me in the mind of a Michael Parsons, just kind of how they maneuver him around the formation. They line him up on the outside. Like I said, like I was telling you in advance, like the thing that impressed me the most is that typically when you have an outside linebacker that shows that they're gonna rush and they drop back, normally they just cover the shallow and the flat. This dude dropped back to the intermediate. Like I'm talking about, back downfield making plays, and I just love the effort that this dude gives on a consistent basis too. So that's one of the things that stands out to me. So, like I say, man, it's just gonna be an interesting matchup. I think that most definitely special teams could be a big factor into how that game goes. Because once again, we go back to the hidden yard. A block punt can change the whole momentum of a game. So, and we know that not Neville, we know Ash brings that to the table, and not to reopen wounds, but that's actually what cost them a game last year from going to state with special teams. So, I think Ash will end up pulling it off.
Hey, we'll see.
But shout out to Neville though, man. They doing some great things, and I would say too. I want to give a shout out to Neville too, man, because I watched this team start the season off, and man, I was scared for Neville. Like how the season was, how it started off early on. I was like, no disrespect. I thought that Neville would have been Washington in terms of how they struggled in a sense, and just seeing how they.
And I agree because I kept saying I just don't see the hype on Neville this year. I kept saying that with what they lost and all that. I'm like, I don't see it, but. They right there in the mix.
And I would say that quarterback too, he tough as nails. He got canned in that West Monroe game, and I think he might have went out for maybe one play, but he came back.
He definitely plays hard. He's actually been hurt all season.
I got a lot of love and respect for that. And you don't see no excuses being made. They just show up and play every week. So, with that being said, now we're gonna come down to the nuts and the bolts, man.
The coup de grace.
So, this is my thing. Prior to me watching that West Monroe and Neville game, I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. This was going to be my first week going against Rustin. Based off of the performance I seen Rustin defense do against Ash, I said to myself, Punty is going to have a feast. Because if you want to be honest, people ain't looking at it into detail. Look at every game Rustin have played. They have not been able to stop nobody from running. Ash was the only team that didn't abandon what they were doing and just kept running. Temporarily they did with the screen. That's how they ended up getting that phone back.
I'm like, why would they do that?
Coach Bob was like, okay, I got something for that then. We just keep running the ball. But it's like you said, when I'm looking at the offense, outside of Punty and Trez, if you can stop Punty from running the ball, he's most effective in between the tackles. So if you can manage to clog up gaps and make him be a side-to-side runner, somehow your chances are good. With Trez, most of his damage is done either on screens or something that's deep downfield. Nothing really in the middle. Not saying he's not capable of it. I do believe that kid is definitely capable of it. They just don't call it up on the play, obviously. You know what I mean? So my thing is, it almost goes back to the Washington game. Washington has a much more explosive attack downfield than West Monroe. Rustin did a good job at keeping them minimized, right? So my thing is, I think that it's going to come down to, can they stop the run? Now, I think that Ruston's going to have to be able to play a complementary game of football, meaning that we have to identify what it is to win this game. We cannot be going 3 and out, and constantly giving West Monroe the ball back and allowing Punty to be able to eventually gain momentum and to start running all over you. You got to be able to put drives together, like I said. You got to be understanding that, hey man, we only have so many possessions within the game. So if this stuff ain't working on the first possession, the second possession, I'm not saying abandon what it is that you do. Find different ways to mix it up, right? An area of weakness, like I said, West Monroe, linebackers. If they gonna try to cover man-to-man, just like how they did against Neville, to me, you have Dalen Powell, who is a running back / wide receiver. Take advantage of it. You can come out in the I formation, motion them out the backfield to go line up out wide. You see that linebacker follow him out there.
You would never see that.
I'm just saying.
No, I get it. But I'm telling you would never see that out of us.
So I'm just saying, like, man, find ways to strategically attack it. Don't make that game much more harder than what it has to be. You got playmakers all over that offense, man, from the running back Powell to Ahmad to Josiah Morgan. You got other guys that's kind of starting to come into the mix with Keisha and Malcolm and things. So, bro, you got the talent. Offensively, I don't question, can y'all do it? I just question, will y'all put it together to be able to do it? My biggest question mark is, like we've been saying, is the defense. That's what scares me, man. And we know one thing, how Ruston has been prone to not being able to stop the run and giving up explosive plays downfield.
And the crazy thing about it is, like, that's the two things.
And that'll cost you a game, by the way, too.
That's the two things that West Monroe does.
Mm-hmm.
They run it with plenty, we struggle with the run, and they can go downfield. I mean, they go downfield the trade, and we struggle with the pass. Now, with the way that they use Davis, not saying it like say in a disrespectful way, but I think you're able to maintain it with a little over the top help with Jaden. I'm gonna shadow him or whatever. And like I said, they let the tight end come through. You know, that's who they kind of been making a third option, going to the tight end. And he's been coming alive because everybody kind of concentrating on him. Davis or punted them. Mm-hmm. So, hey, we got to get another one in. But like I say, overall, we have more talent. And to me, I think West Monroe only has the one DB that's number one.
I like him.
I don't think they got an answer for Ahmad. I think if number one try to go hold Ahmad, then I think Morgan could have a big game. But like you say, it's dialing up the correct plays at the correct time. It's going to be a battle.
Man, I ain't even put my pick on, man.
I didn't. I mean, me personally, I think we kind of go to this is champs, bro. Never beat Ash. We beat West Monroe. I just think we got enough. I know we got enough.
We're just putting it together.
And we just got to put it together because I can't see just two people being this. You look at Longview. That's a similar setup. Now, Punty is a better runner. Their run game is better than what Longview was. But what I'm saying, one back, one receiver, and we was able to, kind of stop that. Washita has more.
Mm-hmm.
Never has more. And we was able to combat what they had. It's looking scary, but I think we got enough, bro.
Come back to, once again, like I always say, fundamentals. That's something that takes place on every play. Block shed, tackling. Those are all the things
we got to play
that we're going to have to make sure we're doing.
And
being on one page with those run
the linebacker play
most definitely
is going to be the most crucial and pivotal thing about this.
Really? I almost want to say, I almost want to say on both sides, like you said, my biggest question mark on West Monroe end is in that secondary going up against Ruston.
Right.
Because there's so many weapons you got to
That's the biggest question mark to me, and I think that is what overtops my pick. is I don't think they have enough, because they got to worry about the run. But if Rustin just open it up a little bit and don't shoot ourselves in the foot,
that's the main
to
thing.
make it where it's just so predictable that they're gonna have a hard time covering our receivers.
Staying out of third and long, you know, not.
Now, David couldn't by himself.
Nah.
That's just one person.
Yeah.
They struggled with Zealand and 19. I don't know what's my other guy that killed us.
I cannot think it.
Ahmad.
Yeah.
His name Ahmad too. I forgot the last name, but they had West Monroe struggling with that, and I feel like that's where we have to exploit them at.
We also got a factor that Neville don't really have, and that's a quarterback who can also run the ball too.
Well, the guy can run.
But
He just been injured, but no, he's not as fast as Hartwell. Right.
Look, quick, twitchy little.
Right. So that's why I say I think we just have enough weapons to get it done, man.
Yeah. So
it's up to the coaches to pull it on through.
But looking at it, it kind of make me. We've been going for a little minute, but looking at it kind of makes.
We have to catch up for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it kind of made me think about like what you were saying about West Monroe. Looking at their style of play, it's almost one of those things to where
it's
like
not hard.
It's not hard. It's just like, to me, West Monroe make it ugly. Like, they basically saying, we ain't coming in here trying to, shoulder roll. We ain't got time for all that. We coming and putting the gas on you full speed. You just going to have to knock us out. If you can't knock us out, that pressure is going to break you. And I think that, that's one of the things that wrestling
and that's the crazy thing about it, what you're saying, that because to me, I feel like wrestling is the same way. But I feel like, you really doing the finish yet. I need some finesse.
Yeah, you got to put some finesse in there. You got to be smart about it.
I need some finesse this week.
You got to
don't sit there and try to power up, mano with mano.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they got us beat in that aspect of the game.
Most definitely. Especially up front.
Right. They D-line and offensive line.
Yeah, most
I feel like they got us.
Tyler George.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So it's like Georgia gets Pipes, but
Pancake King.
Hey, but can the speed of Pipes beat George? So that's a good matchup that
lack of size makes with leverage.
For whatever reason, Pipes get through, bro.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what he do or what he does.
I think it's that leverage, man. By him being so much small. It's almost like the equivalent to Aaron Donald. Like, Aaron Donald was small.
Right.
But you're just looking like, dude, how do you
He just got through.
But it's like they
and I even seen him even against the ass. They tried to move Pipes to the outside to stop it, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
50 would knock him out of that, bro. So, hey.
Well, just briefly, since, we all, just to finish it off, we always usually touch on the home team in college. Brian Kelly gone.
Hey, well, we told you. I think the last show that we had, I don't know if it was the one that didn't air or the one before that, whenever they lost the band, and we were like, yeah, I've taken over for them, I rode for them, but at this point,
I think it was the one that did air. It was.
Like, he's definitely in the hot seat right now.
So not to
get
it came
a lot faster than what
that you done. Not to get into all that. Got Bama versus LSU this week. How you see that game going?
Man, traditionally, you look at a lot of teams, when they do make a mid-season coaching change, it's like that first game, they're definitely amped up and fired up, and it's like they're playing with a different purpose. Me personally, my biggest thing, unless we just do a complete 360 and put Van Buren out there, I just don't believe in this, man. I don't believe in this. We haven't been able to run the ball. And since that, it got something to do with coaching, but it don't got nothing to do with coaching, bro. For whatever reason, we ain't moving nobody out the way, bro. Nuts ain't slinging the ball downfield. Hey, maybe they come out and just dial up some stuff and go downfield and make them bud.
So basically what you said, there's deficiencies there. And it was Brian Kelly for a degree, but they play on that field, bro, all that it went on him.
If you're on the 3-yard line, bro, I don't care if you call a dime, I don't care if you call a crossbuck or trap. Bro, you just got to push that man out the way and get into the end zone. We can't even do that, bro.
And then J.J. Watt made a good point when he was talking about what makes it so hard of defending the tush push. The offense knows the snap.
Right.
We're trying to anticipate. They know when they're going to snap the ball. So that already puts you at a deficit. But you still can't get 3 yards.
I've seen so many of the week right there in the red zone and we can't.
Like, come on, man. That's ridiculous, dude.
Hey.
So, with that being said, I ain't going to. At first, I was saying belt their ass, but, I think Alabama's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like definitely the first half, LSU really going to come out playing to prove a point. and had a bye week, so anxious. So, but I think after halftime,
It's gonna start to
yeah,
separate.
it's gonna start to separate.
And just kind of seeing how I watched Alabama, I wouldn't say dominate on Georgia because it most definitely wasn't no dominate, but just seeing how they kind of was able to stay in control of it, I would say that against a good team like Georgia.
Right.
I mean, I just look at, not trying to, I just think that Georgia has a little bit more to offer in terms of structure and even in terms of play on-field performance. So, I just think Alabama is just going to be, a little bit, too much for them in a sense. But, hey, we'll see how things go going into the offseason, going into the next season. Yeah. You hate everybody who be winning.
I'm an underdog guy.
Yeah. But, man, that is it for this week's episode, man. Like I say, man, we're gonna make sure we hit y'all with it, for this week going into the playoffs. And I know even last year we kind of had dipped off after the state championship game, it was just because of some things was going on there too. So we're gonna try to make sure we stay consistent with this and getting this stuff out to y'all week to week, man. But we appreciate all the love and support we get. Like I say, man, make sure if you enjoyed the video for one, man, make sure you smash that thumbs up button. Also, man, if you got to take on something, if you agree, disagree, or if you just want to chime in on something that we didn't say, let us know in the comments.
And I don't know about you going into the comments like we were talking about. Man, the crazy thing about it, the 2 weeks that we didn't air, that's when I heard the most feedback of, man, where y'all at, man? I've been waiting on y'all. I've been watching y'all. And it's like, sometimes, we do this and you probably like me. Sometimes like, man, we just doing this for nothing in the sense. Other than, we going to do it regardless because we like to have fun and we talk about it. So, hey, why not just do it and let, people see what we do. But to see other people that really expecting and anticipating, us coming out there to, man, they reached out and showed a lot of love, at least towards me. I mean, like I said, I'm more known around here than you, so people kind of like know me directly from coaching or being at Lowe's 15 years. Or before that, I sold insurance, so I met a lot of people that way. So they know me. So man, people were really reaching out, man. Like, man, where y'all at? We waiting on y'all. So, that kind of give you the extra motivation to keep it going. Right, exactly.
Most definitely. So, man, like I say, man, y'all got something y'all want to chime in, or if y'all say, oh, man, y'all hating on this, let us know in the comments. That's what it's there for. Hey, Derek looking for the smoke. Hey. You want to come with excuses? You want to come with everything?
I'm going to call you out. I told him, he know I watch it. I wouldn't have watched all people. I was going against the whole little time by myself, bro. It don't even matter, bro. It don't matter. I mean, I'm witty. I'm sarcastic.
Yeah.
I'm very intelligent.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever angle you want to come from. You want to come with some hood. It don't matter.
You want to come with logic? I can meet you.
I can meet you with logic. You want to come with nonsense? Hey, I tell people, I match energy well, bro. I match energy well.
But, man, like I say, man, that's it for this week's episode.
It's all fun, though.
Yeah, most definitely. That's it for this week's episode, man, and we'll see y'all next week on Third and Long.